What if everything you've ever known, your name, your fears, even the solid ground beneath your feet, is a hallucination? For millennia, mystics from the caves of Tibet to the deserts of Sufi poets have risked sanity and social exile to declare one heretical truth: reality as we experience it is a grand sleight of hand. They speak of a formless God, not a bearded figure on a throne, but the living void from which galaxies spiral and neurons fire. It's the silent hum before the Big Bang, the space between atoms, the awareness watching you read these words. It has no name, no form, yet it is closer than your heartbeat. Here's the twist. This boundless presence isn't hidden in some distant dimension. It's the canvas behind your thoughts, the stillness underneath your chaos. Yet humanity wanders in a collective trance, mistaking the movie screen for the film. We've built empires on sand, chasing wealth, status, and love like children grasping at mirages, all while the eternal whispers, "You are already home." Your senses are master illusionists. They sell you a world of separation. You versus the universe. Good versus evil. Life versus death. But peel back the layers and the cracks show. Time, a mental construct. The past is a memory, the future a fantasy. Only now exists, yet you're rarely here. Self, the you defend so fiercely, a story stitched from conditioning, trauma, and borrowed beliefs, meaning the existential dread you feel at 3 a.m., a symptom of mistaking the menu for the meal. This illusion isn't passive, it's enforced. Society, religion, even science often act as jailers, peddling answers that cage you deeper. Find purpose in career, salvation in dogma, truth in data. But what if the question itself is the trap? Those who dare to see, Rumi, Lao Tzu, quantum, physicists report the same revelation. There is no other. The formless God isn't a separate entity, it's you, stripped of labels. The observer is the observed. The seeker is the sought. Imagine a storm, your mind, raging on the surface of an ocean, the formless. Waves rise and crash, fear, desire, regret, but the depths remain untouched. You are the storm and the stillness, a mirror reflecting infinite images, each believing itself unique. Shatter the mirror, and the images vanish, but the light behind them remains. You are the light. This isn't philosophy, it's rebellion. To awaken is to see through the puppet show of existence. Suffering dissolves when you realize pain is a wave, not the ocean. Death loses its fangs when you grasp that only the costume dies, not the actor. Love transforms from attachment to a radiant recognition. You too are me disguised. The formless God isn't a spiritual abstraction. It's the end of loneliness. Every moment of ordinary life becomes a sacrament. Drinking tea, the universe tasting itself, heartbreak, the divine trembling through a temporary you. Silence, the roar of infinite potential. This is the ultimate game. The formless plays hide-and-seek with itself, forgetting and remembering through you. Your existential angst, just the itch of the mask. Your longing for meaning, the formless whispering, take off the blindfold. The invitation is terrifyingly simple. Question every assumption, especially I am this body, this story, this role. Sit in raw awareness, no mantras, no goals. Let the mind scream itself hoarse until silence swallows it. Live as the paradox. Engage fully in life's dance while knowing you're the dance floor. Warning, this path annihilates comfort. Relationships, ambitions, even your sense of right and wrong will unravel. But in that unraveling, freedom so vast, it redefines existence. The illusion isn't out there. It's the invisible lens through which you viewed reality since birth. Smash the lens, and the formless God isn't revealed. It's recognized as what's always been. Will you keep playing the game, or will you tear off the VR headset and remember, the greatest secret You're not finding the truth. You're ending the lie. Engage or ignore, but know this. Every moment you cling to the illusion, eternity winks at you from the shadows, laughing. The one and the many, why separation is an illusion. Look around you. Everywhere you turn, you see differences, countless forms, endless variations. The vastness of the sky, the solidity of the earth, the ceaseless movement of life. You see yourself as one being among billions, separate from the world, distinct from others. You have your name, your past, your identity. It all feels undeniably real. But is it? This is the greatest illusion of all, the illusion of multiplicity, the belief that we are separate, that the universe is divided into countless parts. Yet the truth is, the macrocosm and the microcosm are not different. The universe and the individual arise from the same source, like waves upon the surface of an ocean. They appear distinct, but they are never separate from the waters beneath them. Imagine looking up at the sky. You see clouds drifting effortlessly, seemingly floating, detached from one another. But are they truly separate, or are they simply patterns in the same boundless sky? The clouds may shift, break apart, and form new shapes, but the sky remains unchanged, ever present, untouched by their passing. This is the nature of reality. We too appear as individuals, distinct from the whole, but just as the clouds are not separate from the sky, we are not separate from the One. What you call yourself is merely a temporary expression of something far greater, something infinite, formless, and eternal. But our senses deceive us. The world appears solid, tangible. We feel pain, joy, and struggle. We chase desires. We seek meaning in temporary things. We divide the world into this and that, self and other. And so we mistake appearance for reality. We believe the many are real and forget the one that binds it all together. This is why the world is described as relatively real. It exists, but only in the way a dream exists while you are asleep. While dreaming, the experience feels vivid, unquestionable. You interact with people, places, and events. You feel emotions. You react to the dream world as though it is real. But when you wake up, what happens? The dream dissolves. The people, the places vanish, and suddenly you realize it was never real to begin with. So, what if this, what you call reality, is also just a dream? One day you wake up and see that everything you believed to be real was merely a temporary illusion, projected onto something far greater. The wise have spoken of this for centuries. They tell us that the world is neither fully real nor fully unreal. It is like a mirage, appearing tangible, but vanishing upon closer examination. It is pragmatically real, real enough for daily life, real enough to experience, but fundamentally, it is unreal because it is always changing. And what is true reality? That which does not change, that which is constant, unshaken, eternal. And that reality, the only true reality, is the One, the formless, the boundless, the infinite. But how do we wake up? How do we break free from the illusion? The first step is to recognize it, to see beyond the surface, beyond the illusion of multiplicity, to understand that no matter what form something takes, no matter how different things may appear, everything originates from the same source. You are not separate from the universe. You are not a fragment lost among countless others. You are the whole appearing as the part. And when you truly realize this, the illusion begins to shatter. This is only the beginning. The journey to truth continues, the nature of the formless God, beyond thought and description. The mind craves definitions. It seeks to name, categorize, and understand. We define things by their shape, function, and relationship to other things. This is how we navigate the world. But what happens when we encounter something that cannot be named, contained, or grasped by thought? This is the paradox of the formless God. It is not a being among other beings. It is not something that can be worshipped, feared, or loved in the way we love another person. It has no attributes, no qualities, no limits. It does not act because it exists beyond action. It does not move because it transcends space. It does not change because it exists beyond time. It simply is. To describe it is impossible because the moment we put it into words, we distort it. Words belong to the realm of duality, where there is light and dark, good and evil, creation and destruction. But the formless God is beyond duality. It is neither this nor that. It cannot be known in the way you know a person, an object, or an idea. It is not an object of thought. It is the very ground upon which thought arises. Imagine trying to explain fire to someone who has never seen it. You can describe how it moves, how it flickers and dances. You can talk about its warmth, its light, its ability to consume. But no matter how many words you use, no matter how beautifully you describe it, that person will never truly know fire until they feel its heat for themselves. You cannot understand it through books, philosophy, or mere contemplation. You can only experience it. And how is it experienced? By stilling the mind, by stepping beyond thought, by releasing the illusion of self and dissolving into the infinite. For the formless God is not separate from you. It is not somewhere else, waiting to be found. It is here, now. It is within you, within all things. It is the silent awareness behind your thoughts, the stillness beneath the movement of life. But as long as you seek it with the mind, you will never find it. To know the formless God is not to grasp it, but to become it. To let go of all that is temporary, all that is illusory, and to rest in the eternal presence that has always been. This is not something that can be taught. It can only be realized, and once it is, there is no going back. Maya, how the illusion of reality is created in the beginning, there was only the one, boundless, infinite, formless. It was complete, needing nothing, lacking nothing. And yet from the depths of its stillness, a movement arose, a whisper, a will. I am one. I will be many. And so the illusion of creation was born. But what is this illusion? It is not deception in the way we typically understand it. It is not a lie. It is a veil, a dream that allows the one to appear as the many. It is the dance of form within, the formless, the shifting waves upon an unmoving ocean. This illusion is called Maya, and it is not random. It operates through three distinct forces, three threads that weave the fabric of reality. These are the gunas, the fundamental qualities that shape all existence. The first is sattva, the quality of clarity, wisdom, and harmony. When Maya moves through sattva, it reveals the truth hidden beneath illusion. It leads to deep awareness, to an understanding of the divine nature of all things. This is the energy of light, of purity, of balance. It is the path of seekers, sages, and those who look beyond the material world to find the eternal. Then there is Rajas, the force of movement, passion, ambition, and desire. Rajas is fire. It is drive, hunger, restlessness. It fuels creation, but it also fuels struggle. It compels beings to act, to chase, to conquer. It is the force behind every triumph, every war, every empire. It is neither good nor bad. It simply is pushing existence forward in an endless cycle of craving and achievement. And finally, there is tamas, the force of inertia, darkness, and stagnation. It is the weight that holds things down, the cloud that obscures truth. When Maya moves through tamas, it breeds ignorance, apathy, and delusion. It is the force that keeps people trapped in illusions of separateness, in cycles of indulgence and neglect. It is the resistance to growth, the sleep of the soul. These three forces, sattva, rajas, and tamas, exist in everything, in every being, in every moment. They rise and fall, shaping perception and experience. A person dominated by sattva seeks knowledge and peace. One ruled by rajas is driven by ambition and struggle. One lost in Thomas remains blind, weighed down by illusion. But here lies the key. No matter which force governs you, they are all part of the same illusion. They are all movements within the dream. To awaken, one must see through them all. They are not the world itself. They are a filter, a distortion, one that keeps you believing in separation, in division, in struggle. But once you recognize the illusion for what it is, you are no longer bound by it. You begin to remember. You begin to awaken. For the one was never truly many. The many were always the one. Imagine standing before a mirror. The reflection you see is you, yet it is not you. It is only an image, a reversed imitation of something real. Now imagine that mirror covered in dust, layers upon layers of distortion. The image becomes unclear, warped, fragmented. But the distortion is not in you. It is in the mirror. This is the nature of illusion. The formless God, the ultimate reality, remains unchanged, untouched beyond all form. But when it is reflected through the mirror of illusion, it appears as something else. It appears as the world, as the self, as everything we believe to be real. But what we see is not the truth. It is only a reflection, filtered through the distortion of the mind. This reflection does not appear the same to all. The clarity of what is seen depends on the nature of the mirror. And this mirror, illusion itself, takes on three forms, just as light refracts through different lenses. When the mirror is still and polished, the reflection is clear. This is sattva, the mode of calmness, purity, and wisdom. In this state, the illusion thins and the truth shines through. The reflection is almost perfect, and in that clarity, one begins to realize God is not separate, God is not beyond, God is all. But when the mirror is in motion, shaking and restless, the image becomes blurred, fragmented, shifting. This is rajas, the mode of passion and struggle. The reflection is there, but it is unstable. It is a soul seeking, reaching, striving, but always caught in the motion of becoming, never arriving at being. This is the world of ambition, desire, creation, and destruction. A world that appears solid, but is always changing. And then there is a mirror so thick with dust that almost nothing can be seen. A mirror clouded, darkened, lost to itself. This is tamas, the mode of inertia, ignorance, and forgetfulness. In this state, the reflection is buried under layers of illusion, and the truth is all but invisible. One sees only the material world, believing it to be the only reality. The soul forgets its divine nature, lost in the illusion of separateness. But no matter how distorted the mirror becomes, the reality behind it remains unchanged. The formless God is not affected by illusion, only our perception of it is. And here lies the great truth. The distortion can be removed. The dust can be wiped away. The mirror can be stilled. When that happens, the illusion fades, and what was always there, what was always real, is seen as it truly is. How does one escape an illusion? Transcending the illusion. The path to liberation, not by fighting it, not by resisting it, but by seeing through it. The illusion of separateness, the illusion of form, the illusion of self, all of it exists only because we believe in it. We cling to names, to identities, to the material world, mistaking shadows for reality. But the moment you stop chasing the illusion, the moment you stop feeding it with belief, it begins to dissolve. This is the path to liberation. The first step is to recognize that the objective world, the shifting dance of forms, pleasures, pains, desires, is not ultimate reality. It is temporary, fleeting, ever-changing. What is here today will be gone tomorrow. The body, the mind, the identity you wear like a mask, none of it is permanent. And what is not permanent cannot be real. So you begin to detach, not by rejecting life, not by escaping from the world, but by seeing it for what it truly is, a passing reflection, a dream. You move through it without attachment, like a traveler passing through a city that is not his home. You play your role, but you do not mistake the role for who you are. Then the second step, realizing that the individual soul is not separate from the one. You are not a fragment, not a small piece broken off from something greater. You are the whole appearing in a temporary form. The drop of water is not separate from the ocean. The wave is not apart from the sea. It only seems that way when viewed from the surface. But beneath, it is all the same. And then the third step, the dissolution of the creator concept, the idea of a personal God separate from you, ruling over existence, disappears. Because who is the creator? It is not an external being. It is not a distant power. It is the very essence of existence itself, the formless, the eternal, the ever-present source from which all things arise and into which all things return. Once you realize this, once the illusion of separation crumbles, there is no more self to seek, no more world to chase, no more veil to obscure real reality. There is only that, the one, the infinite, the formless. And in that moment, everything falls silent. The struggle ends. The search is over. You do not become enlightened. You realize you always were. You do not reach liberation. You remember you were never bound. This is transcendence, not an escape from reality, but a return to what has always been real. Not a journey to something new, but a homecoming to what you have always been. The illusion ends the moment you stop believing in it. And when it does, only the formless God remains. The ultimate realization, you are the divine. Within, at the core of your being, beneath the layers of illusion, beyond the shifting thoughts, desires, and fears, there is something vast, something unchanging, something infinite. It has no name, no form, no identity. It is not separate from you. It is you. It is the silent awareness behind your mind, your thoughts, the stillness beneath all movement. It is the source from which all things arise and to which all things return. And yet you have forgotten. You have spent lifetimes lost in the illusion of separateness, believing yourself to be small, limited, bound by flesh and time. But the truth is, you are the encased God within. This is the ultimate realization, the end of the search, the moment when you awaken and see that the divine is not outside of you. It has been within you all along. But to reach this realization, you must first ask yourself a question. What level of consciousness am I at? Are you bound by desire, lost in the pursuit of material pleasures, possessions, and status? Do you exist in a state of constant struggle, driven by ambition, by the need to achieve and conquer? Or have you begun to seek something deeper? Truth, wisdom, clarity. Your desires reveal your state of being. They show you where you are on the path. And if your desire is still rooted in the external world, in the ever-changing dream of form, then you remain trapped. Liberation begins when you turn inward, when your desire shifts from chasing the temporary to realizing the eternal. And for this, there is only one path: meditation. But meditation is not what most believe it to be. It is not simply sitting in silence. It is not merely repeating words or performing rituals. These are only the outer layers. True meditation is the process of dissolving thought, dissolving self, dissolving illusion, until only the one remains. There are stages to this path. First, ritual, the discipline of practice, the external acts of devotion that prepare the mind. Then concentration, the ability to focus, to still the distractions of the restless mind. Then meditation, where thought begins to disappear, where the sense of self starts to fade. And finally, bliss, the moment where the mind dissolves completely, where only awareness remains, vast and boundless. But why do so many fail? Because they remain stuck in the external. They perform the rituals but never go beyond them. They repeat words but never enter silence. They try to meditate but do not let go. They cling to the very identity that must dissolve to truly awaken. You must surrender completely. You must let go of everything you think you are, everything you think you know. You must step beyond all concepts, all beliefs, all illusions, until nothing remains but the truth. And here is that truth. You are not separate. You were never separate. You are the divine within. There is no more time for waiting, for searching, for questioning. The time to wake up is now.